It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated with style and durability. You can trust Tervis tumblers to keep your drinks the perfect temperature, hot or cold, for hours. From the classic insulated tumblers to sleek stainless steel water bottles, each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Since our founding, we've been revolutionizing hair removal with cutting-edge technology and a commitment to empowerment. The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. Experience the future of hair removal today at ulike.com, because at Ulike, beauty is about looking and feeling good. That's ulike.com. Ulike. With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects, featuring 468 natural AI voices. Customize the volume, mood, and pauses to perfectly match your content. Plus, capture high quality videos with no watermark. Record your screen, webcam, and voice, and save them instantly to your computer. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Just use AMP-Pace.
AMP-Pace.
Scotty, how do we feel about a new intro song at some point, right? I actually looked this up. This is the Pete Sousa Show, presented by Slovakics. But I looked it up. Like, it is a real pain in the ass to like legitimately get a normal song on here. I have my brother Kevin's catalog, but kind of on the outs with his wife now that he's gone. So I would hate to use it as an intro song and then get like a cease and desist. I won't. I love his wife, by the way. I just haven't talked to her in a while. Yeah, I think I would love to get a new song here. I was even thinking of Live on Stage by Dilated Peoples. You familiar? Great song. And now that we have like, I guess 83,000 subscribers, like I hear that can help you make a play, but it still seems like super annoying. But I would like a new intro song, wouldn't you? Jesus Christ.
Did that chair just fall over?
Yeah. Now I have like a back problem. My foot is now stuck underneath. Scotty, you may have to come help me here. Ready? Hold on. Okay, I got it. Dude, this has been one of those days.
I was on my feet, y'all.
By the way, we're going to get into college football, Michigan sanctions. Urban Meyer had something to say. Hugh Freeze talking about starting 3 quarterbacks. Good news for Baylor? I think so. And then we're going to have David Klingler on. You want to talk about a gunslinger, right? Kid Dynamite. He rewrote the record book at Houston playing quarterback and was one of those guys who I just found to be mesmerizing, really because of the offense that he was playing in, the run and shoot, really like at the forefront of that run and shoot spread offense. And then he and Andre Ware became household names as far as college football was concerned. Obviously, Ware more than Klingler. But we're going to talk to David Klingler and talk to him a little bit about Houston football. I'm going to be on the call for that game against Stephen F. Austin next Thursday night. And I just want to check in with him about his life, what it was like to be an absolute winner who put up just mind-numbing numbers. And I know he does a lot of good stuff today, too, with his church. And be cool to always cool to get some sunlight of the spirit here. Because I could use it on a day like today. My back is killing me. It was one of those deals, man. And I hate to be the don't get old guy, but like I hurt my back over the weekend, really acted up, kind of went away, went to a long walk yesterday, and was feeling good. And then this morning I couldn't sleep. I woke up at 4, and then I kind of just moved my neck. And like I'm in that kind of place in my life now where if I move my neck the wrong way during a vulnerable stretch with my back, that could be bad news. And it was this morning. So I was in here doing like all kinds of crazy stretches. Already starting to feel better. It is football season. Why wouldn't I? Let's start with Hugh Freeze, though. Before we do that, let's say thank you to Slovakics, Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers, Socorro Family Forward, our good friends at First National Bank of Central Texas, Crawford Austin Properties, and Extraco Bank. Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers. If I didn't say them, they're worth saying twice if I already did. So Hugh Freeze, about a day ago, mentioned that, and it's rumored to be a push for Jackson Arnold, obviously a big-time transfer coming over from Oklahoma via the transfer portal. Now, Jackson Arnold is a guy, if you followed his career at Oklahoma at all, the success was not flowing, right? He was actually benched last year, and confidence has been an issue with him reportedly. And why wouldn't it be, right? Like you come in as this big-time quarterback, you go to Oklahoma, things don't pan out exactly how you would want, but you're still very good. So now you get a bag of money to play in the SEC at Auburn, right? A power. Maybe not right now, like X's and O's wise, but like Auburn is a storied program, and they could get right back on the map this year with a guy like Jackson Arnold. They have an amazing wide receiving core, which could or could not be on display on August 29th when they come to Waco to take on Baylor. But Hugh Freeze mentions, hey, we might play 3 quarterbacks. Now, whether that here's the deal. There's a couple things, right? That probably is. One, he might be, competition is good. He might be trying to push Jackson Arnold a little bit, right? 2, he may be trying to give the backups, and his backups are not necessarily like, scrubs. It's quite possible that, these guys are going to play in some form or another, whether it is like I mentioned Houston, right? Like Zion Chris, who started last season. He is such an athlete, and he's still with the program. Like he'll probably find his way onto the field this year. So I get it if, Auburn will use athletes, right, that are position player quarterbacks to kind of open up the offense. I totally get that. But he didn't say we'll see 3 quarterbacks or, you might see what was that? What the heck's the guy's name? I wrote it down here. Oh, okay. Deuce Knight and Ashton Daniels. Deuce Knight is like a phenomenal athlete, right? So he didn't say you might see them for us to kind of keep the foot on the gas offensive wise and keep Baylor guessing. No, he just said you might see him. So he may be trying to push Jackson Arnold. He may be trying to instill some kind of hope for the backups I mentioned, Deuce Knight and Ashton Daniels. Or 3, he may be trying to keep Dave Aranda and Baylor on its toes. But 4, like, and this is the one that Baylor faithful should be hoping for. Like, he doesn't like what he's seen so far, and he really doesn't have like a definite number one. Like, Jackson Arnold hasn't grabbed that job, and that is the fact that we're talking about who might play quarterback for Auburn now. What, 8 days away from the game? Like, that's a little suspect. You know, and I think it's something that Baylor really could find to be an advantage for them. If you look around the country, there's a couple other situations that I can compare this to. In Colorado, I worry a little bit about Coach Prime, right? In a sense where you have Caden Salter, again, another marquee name who came over from Liberty, an amazing 2023 season. If you talk to people who watched him a lot last year, they would, truth serum, he may have regressed a little bit last year. So now he comes over to Colorado, still a high profile, much ballyhooed quarterbacking prospect through the transfer portal, comes from Liberty to Colorado, and he's competing with a 5-star, 17-year-old Juju Lewis. Now, they have yet to name a starting quarterback in Colorado. That's another one where you look at that and you say, okay, maybe Juju Lewis is really making a push, right? But it's 17 years of age, and with zero big time college football experience. That is a little concerning if you're a Colorado fan, because I would imagine, I know I did, as somebody who calls games and will analyze them a little bit. You know, that's, analysts are there. Because a lot of times they played the game and coached the game. I played the game a little bit, but I'm not here to tell you that I'm Troy Aikman, you know, breaking down Monday Night Football. But I will tell you that I don't like the fact that you've got Caden Salter battling it out with a 17-year-old for the starting job there. Conversely, I think if you look at what BYU has done by naming Bear Bachmeier their starting quarterback, that speaks to, okay, this was a situation for Kalani Sitake that you thought might have come down to the 11th hour, like it did last year for Jake Retzloff. Bear Bachmeier has been so head and shoulders above the rest of the competition that he was named starting quarterback, I guess, on Tuesday, right? So that to me says, for a guy who did not play spring ball at BYU, transferred from Stanford, who, by the way, they will play in the second game of the season. So that'll be super interesting. Bear Bachmeier and his brother Tiger going to play at Stanford. That'll be a game that I'm sure has a lot of eyeballs on it just for that reason. And then, of course, BYU is going to need to win that. But Bear Bachmeier winning that job says that he's wise beyond his years, which we had heard already. He's a very bright kid, which we had also heard that already. But it's very clear that all the hype you've heard around his skill set as a passer and as someone who can beat you with their legs, he might be the real deal, that is promising. Okay, way more promising than all these questions over here, right? When you look at Colorado or Auburn. Again, like we always say, more will be revealed, but that was something that grabbed me today. When I looked at Auburn and I was kind of digging a little deeper on that situation with Hugh Freeze saying he might play 3 quarterbacks or he could play 3 quarterbacks, whether it's smoke and mirrors, whether it is a lack of real direction, right? Taking hold of the job by Jackson Arnold, or whether it's just, hey, I don't know. I'm not quite sure what we're doing here. None of those signs are great for Auburn. So that's something we'll certainly be keeping an eye on, especially as they make their way to Waco here. Auburn fans have been awesome, by the way. After our interview earlier this week, we got a lot of traction, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool for, we're in Big 12 country. So to have the SEC and the Big 12 banging heads and to see the rivalry percolating a little bit before this game has been really cool. I did not know that Jim Harbaugh and Urban Meyer had any kind of rivalry, but it looks as though they just might. Rob Stone, who is amazing, and Urban Meyer, who's a great athlete, right? A great analyst, excuse me, and obviously a great coach. They were talking about Michigan sanctions the other day, and Urban Meyer was pretty quick to say, you know, we're not hitting the right people with these penalties. We should be hitting the coaches, regardless of where they go. And he turned back the clock and he talked about in 2011 or 2012 when Jim Tressel was relieved of his responsibilities at Ohio State amid a probe into the football program and athletic department. He took a job with the Indianapolis Colts. And the job was like, it was like a replay consultant, but he was, you know, in the press box or in the coach's box with Colts coaches. He was a member of their coaching staff. When the sanctions came down on Ohio State, the Indianapolis Colts actually suspended Jim Tressel for, I think, like 6 games. Now, that's a lot different than the San Diego Chargers being like, yeah, we're going to, or LA Chargers, sorry. We're going to take Jim Harbaugh and suspend him, our head coach, who makes $60 million a year. We're going to suspend him for 6 games. But Urban Meyer was mentioning, you know, there is a real disconnect there, right? And he was saying how it'll be interesting to see if Roger Goodell says anything or the Chargers say anything. I really could care less, but I think it's interesting that all this stuff is rising to the surface. And it makes me think, right? It makes me think, the NCAA for so long has wielded such power. But those days are long gone. If you notice, they're sort of tiptoeing around because these new sanctions that the NCAA, and Michigan's just a great example, levied on the Wolverines and their football program. It's really not, the idea is not to impact present day football on Saturdays now. It is to penalize the university, almost, you could say, I mean, for a $20 million slap on the wrist, really, for Michigan, right? But the NCAA, like, they are literally in Times Square, like, handing out jaywalking tickets. Like, it's like nobody really is paying much mind anymore. And I don't have any right answers or some like hardcore like opinion or problem with this, but the times are really changing. And this Michigan situation was a great example. Like, if they somehow had really tried to take out Michigan's legs, right, and suspend players, or, you know, maybe, let's say, limit scholarships, right, or take away banners like the national. They won a national championship 2 years ago. Like, if you mean business, like, take that away. I'm not saying they should, but we are in a totally different space now with the NCAA. It really is. The conferences, the Power Four, and TV networks have all the control now. The NCAA still is, you know, still has a place, but it's becoming painfully obvious that a change is afoot here. And I think the conferences even have, like, I don't think, I know. If the NCAA was like, Michigan is going to have to forfeit like its first 3 games of the season, the Big Ten literally can step in and have veto power on that. So that's why the NCAA isn't going to bother, because it will be a complete mess. But for the folks at SMU, right, last week, where they were like, hey, like, this is complete BS because, you know, 30 some years ago or 40 years ago, you know, SMU was handed down the death penalty, which set that program back at least a decade, right? Now Michigan, you know, ballpark type, similar infractions, you could say, they get a slap on the wrist. And I don't necessarily have a huge issue with that, because I think that was wrong. You know, what happened at SMU, I mean, obviously they were breaking rules, but it was beyond unfortunate what happened to a lot of those guys who were there to play football at SMU. And you don't want to have a repeat performance of that, right? But there is a serious change happening. And the fact that Urban Meyer is at the forefront, running around like the sheriff, handing out tickets himself, is that'll make you chuckle as well, right? All right, the Pete Sousa Show presented by Slovaceks. We're coming back with the gunslinger, David Klingler. An honor to have a legend like that on the show. We're looking forward to chatting with him a little bit, of course, about his amazing career and a little bit about the Cougars coming into the Big 12 season. A big year for Houston. Second for Willie Fritz. I think good things are on the way. We'll step aside and be right back with David Klingler.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. That's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extra Code. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down to afterwards, was night and day.
Our experience with Extra Code has been phenomenal since the very beginning. So we love Extra Code.
I don't know, if Bubble wasn't here, I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. Bubble allows you to make it real and for it to actually work. So I feel like Bubble bridges that gap and being able to give people the opportunity to make their ideas come to life really quickly too. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built and have the control over it.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
Hi, I'm Jo from Face Theory. You're going to want to have a specific goal for your skincare routine. What do you want to achieve? Active ingredients are really strong, and if you're using too many at once, your skin can get overwhelmed. Don't overspend on products. Choose products that have scientific research behind them. At Face Theory, if you're not happy with a product, just say so, just give us a shout and we'll give you your money back, no problem.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. Tailor the colors, fonts, and design to match your brand and seamlessly integrate with your WordPress website. Whether it's for events or appointments, Amelia makes booking simple, stylish, and perfectly aligned with your business. Enhance your booking experience today at WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia.
When you learn a language with Babbel, you start a journey that takes you further and further. Anytime and anywhere you wish. It's easy and fun. Broadens your horizons and keeps your brain fit. A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry for its dedication to helping individuals with bad credit secure loans. By making timely repayments, borrowers can gradually repair their credit history, thereby increasing their chances of securing better loan terms in the future. BadCreditLoans.com serves as a beacon of hope for those with bad credit. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
It's the Pete Sousa Show presented by Slovacics, and he is David Klingler. David, thank you so much. The Houston great who rewrote the record book, electrifying all college football. Appreciate you taking the time. Oh, David, I think you're muted right now. We can always wait a second as the great David Klingler. Scotty, is that on our end? Okay. Having a tiny issue. So we can see David Klingler, but we can't hear him. Oh, it isn't? Any recommendation?
Tell him to check his settings to make sure the audio input is correct.
David, can you check your settings to make sure the audio input is correct? See, I'm not quite the AV guy, but I'm good at conveying the information.
That's good. That's good.
That was good, right? I guess we could do it. Should we do a phoner?
Tell him to start coming out and come back in.
David, why don't you? Okay, yeah, I guess he's doing it now. Oh, okay, that's me actually out here. All right, so David, do you want to go offline and then come back on, and then we'll just try it that way? And if that doesn't work, okay. Oh, talk again.
Hello.
Oh, there he is. All right, he breaks through again.
Yeah, I don't know what I did. But we'll take it.
I mean, basically, the internet was like one of those zone defenses, or maybe like dime coverage that tried to stop you back in the day. Ultimately, we're going to get behind that coverage and put up some big numbers for the Cougars. How's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm great, and I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us a little bit. I want to talk about, obviously, Houston Cougar football. I'm lucky enough I'll be calling that game on next Thursday night when they take on Stephen F. Austin. But I got to talk about your career and take off your humility hat right now, because I know you are a humble guy. How much money, NIL money, is David Klingler demanding in 2025? I mean, we got to talk about some major dough.
Oh, boy, the state of college football is in total disarray. I was just looking at the University of Houston roster, and guys coming from all over. I remember the reason I went back for my senior year was because we made an agreement that they paid for my school, and I agreed to play for that school, for 4 or 5 years, whichever it may be, and I got a great education there, and it has set me up well for life. And I think that we've just totally lost that whole concept. I don't care how good you are. You can be the greatest to ever play the game. Deion Sanders is not playing football anymore. Those days will come to an end, and then you've got to figure out what you want to be when you grow up. And I just think we've lost sight of what education is and what being a student athlete is. The truth of the matter is, I don't know that they're students anymore. They're just athletes going from place to place, and let's just call it what it is.
Well, one of my biggest bummers associated to what we're talking about right now is I don't think, and as a young man myself, I certainly, like, if there was NIL when I was playing, I would have bounced all over. I'm sure I would have, unless I was really guided correctly by, a mentor or my parents. But you see now they're not getting the opportunity to form those great bonds with teammates like you got to do. And they're also not getting the experience of, okay, I've got to work through this adversity. I've got to walk through this and become calloused.
Yeah, and those are huge sacrifices for our culture. There used to be places in our culture where you learned discipline, sacrifice, attention to detail, how to play with the team, how to overcome, how to succeed after you fail. Our kids aren't learning that. You just, your dad takes you and you go play for another team, or you pout and take your ball and go home, or and so if we're not learning those life skills, really, literally anywhere in our culture, how does that impact our culture?
Yes.
And I think we're in big trouble there.
No, and it's something you're not going to see the outcome tomorrow, but you'll see it right in 5-10 years. Let's turn back the clock and jump in the time machine ourselves. When I was younger, I remember so well seeing you splashed across the cover of Sports Illustrated. That was the biggest deal for someone of my age group, right? And you were really, like, the numbers you put up were just mind-numbing. And as a quarterback, you were just so amazing. How did you handle all the attention that came with somebody putting up such huge numbers in one of the biggest sports known to man?
I think I had a pretty good perspective on reality. I knew that I had athletic ability. I mean, I jumped 6'9", I think, when I was a freshman in high school, and I could throw the ball a long way. None of that matters if you don't have a team around you, if you don't have a great system, And so I went to University of Houston. I chose University of Houston because they offered me scholarships in basketball and football. I could have gone just about anywhere to play basketball, but Jack Capardi and John Jenkins and that offense, and I came from a wishbone offense. In high school, we ran the wishbone. The only time the ball was in the air was on the option pitch, and we were horrible. I mean, we were not very good. And I was actually offered a scholarship because I overthrew a receiver on we called it veer pass, 23 veer pass. I overthrew him by about 35 yards. And I remember John Jenkins saying, well, I don't know if he can throw it to anybody, but he can sure throw it a long way. And so you come in, you start to work hard. I was pushed by the other players around me. Andre Ware, we're still great friends today. It was a unique relationship. It was adversarial in that we competed against each other, but at the end of the day, we pulled for each other. And I was his biggest advocate. He was my biggest advocate. And it just there was teamwork, there was system, and if you just did your part in the system, then good things happened. And so I realized that that's what was going on. It wasn't, David Klingler, the superstar who walked in there like Superman, Clark Kent, took off his, outer robe and exposed his S on his chest and made it all. That wasn't what was going on. My senior year, we had a great offensive line my junior year. My senior year, many of those guys were gone. And all of a sudden, you start to look pretty common, And it was the same receivers, the same quarterback, but the offensive line had changed. And so this is a team game. And back to what we were saying before, this is, I think, what we're losing in college sports today.
When you were, orchestrating that run and shoot, you were the signal caller. And it was something we really had never seen before. Did you know you were on the forefront of a changing of the guard as far as how offenses tried to move the football and score points?
Oh, yeah. And you remember back in the day, it was I formation, and it was a lot of, power football. In the NFL, it was the hogs. It was the age of the 330-pound linemen and the 260-pound middle linebackers and, safeties that were 230 pounds. And we came in and, by the end of the first quarter, these big, run stopping players were standing on the sideline with leg cramps,
Yeah.
We played A&M, and when we played A&M, they gave us some problems because they could match us up athlete for athlete. But they had 4 first-round draft picks at cornerback, 2 first-round draft picks at safety. They took out all their defensive linemen. They left the nose tackle, and they just played with athletes, and it was athlete against athlete. And so we knew that we were changing some things. And in many ways, what we were doing back then still, particularly with John Jenkins, not so much the run and shoot, but John Jenkins, I say there's innovators and there's imitators. He really knew what was behind the run and shoot, quote, offense, which was really just option route, right? It was options. Receivers could go anywhere on any play. There was a design to it, a reason, but I don't think teams have caught up even yet to what we were doing years ago.
When you get drafted, first round pick, a lot of excitement. What surprised you about going to the NFL? I mean, I know you won't say it, but that's not the best organization or entry point into the league to play for the Bengals back in that time. So what surprised you about the transition to big time football? I got to ask you that before I ask you about Willie Fritz and today's teams.
To give you a perfect example, they're installing the offense and they draw up a play that's their base pass play, and it's a outside receivers running a curl and inside receivers, the backs running the flat and the tight end running the hook over the ball. And that was it. It was just locked in. That's what you run, And I remember asking, well, what happens if they play cover 2? Well, then you throw it away. And I'm going, what in the world are we doing? This is like going from, nuclear science or rocket science back to second grade edition. What on earth? And so I said, look, the corners are going to force you inside, take the inside release, run a bench route, send the tight end down the middle, hey, with 3-on-2, and they're looking at me like I'm from another planet. I'm in big trouble here. And so Boomer Esiason, who I love to death, he was so good to me, but I just asked him, I said, help me out. Tell me what this offense is. He says, it's run, pass, sit on the bench. Run, pass, sit on the bench.
He's never been one to hold back. That's a pretty cool story.
And some other things were happening. You know, the Anthony Munoz, all the great players that had been with the Bengals were retiring, and there was a huge roster turnover.
Were you Sam White or Bruce Coslett?
No, I was Dave Shula.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so Dave Shula. But, you know, Paul Brown had just passed away. Mike Brown had taken over the team. I think there was a heritage tax issue. So the year that the salary cap came into the league, there also was a salary basement. And I think the basement was $32 million. Well, we had to double our salary to get to the basement. And we look back and think, well, there was we won 3 games, and you think, well, how on earth did we pull off winning 3 games with what we had? And you know, but you know, very quickly, not only you know, I had arm surgery. I hurt my arm after elbow surgery and all kinds of stuff. So my career was over really before it even started there. And so I really would have loved to have played in the game today. It's much more akin to what we were doing in college than back then. It was, you know, play action pass and handoff and I formation and predetermined routes and, you know, punt for field position. Punt for field. What are we talking about? You know, that's something we never talked about that in college. It was, you know, 4th and 30. Should we go for it or not? You know, let's go.
Well, it was like a futuristic scheme and attack you had. Yeah, and it really was amazing to watch. Now, present day, to the Houston Cougars and Willie Fritz. I know you have a pretty good feel for the program. Willie Fritz, in his 2nd year, wherever he's gone, has done very well. What kind of fingerprints has he put on this Houston program so far, on the field and culture-wise?
It wouldn't shock me if they do well, because his DNA is a discipline, attention to detail, character, and those things translate into success in life. I mean, the world is wired for that to be successful, right? So he's going to have some level of success. The question is, and what's different, I think, for all football programs now and all sports programs, college programs across the country, is what we've been talking about. It's how do you bring in people from all over, different cultures, disgruntled people who I'm upset, I deserve to play, I'm coming here, and you have this kind of I deserve attitude, and put them together and bring them into a different culture, change their mindset, put a team together. That's a challenge, and I hope he can do it.
What do you think it means to the program, that brand new football facility they have? You know, last year they're going practice field, you know, then you got to walk to the locker room. On game day, you're walking to the field. It's just everything was all spread out. Now they got one place, you know, where everything is kind of like a nerve center. And it's beautiful, right? State of the art. And the stadium is beautiful too. How much does that mean to the program?
Let me show you how old school I am. Who cares? Who cares? Look, when I was at U of H, our weight room was a joke. It was, you know, 40, but it didn't matter. Look, we would have played University of Texas or Texas A&M or Arkansas on broken glass in the parking lot in a doubleheader, right? It doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. The field is the exact same size. It takes discipline. When the game starts, when the whistle blows, it doesn't matter how nice your stadium is, how many, you know, weight racks you have in your weight room, how fancy how many mirrors you have. None of that matters. It comes down to the guy to your right and to your left, and the coaching staff. And are you going to succeed or fail? And so I throw all that stuff in the trash can. There's always someone who has better stuff, but you don't win because you have nice stuff. Show me how that translates into wins. Maybe you can get better recruits, right? But talent does not equate to a football player. It just doesn't. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't reach it, then what's the point? Show me the guy who's just the hardworking plotter, and give me a bunch of those guys together, and we'll clean your 5-star clock. right? and so I couldn't care less. If they're going to play out there in the parking lot under the the Walmart lights, that's fine, right? Let's play. Right?
What was the strangest place you guys ever did like a walkthrough or a practice with Coach Pardee before a game?
Pardee, remember Coach Pardee was a Junction boy from A&M. He was back with the Bear Bryant and all that stuff. And so we had early morning practices, and we would bring 2 pair of shoes to practice. Our first pair of shoes was sneakers, our basketball shoes, and we would go to the parking lot under the over by the old stadium, because we didn't have lights in our practice facility. And so we'd go practice in the parking lot until the sun came up, and then we'd take a break and you'd put on your cleats and you go over and practice on the grass. Look, but that kind of mentality, it doesn't matter where we're practicing, right? We'll practice over there in the third ward, and with gunshots going off, you better stay low or you'll get shot,
But let's win, right? Let's build and let's win together.
Yeah.
And it kind of builds the bonds too.
Well, and I don't want anybody on my team that's not tough enough to endure that.
Yeah.
If you want to complain about, I can't see myself in the mirror when I'm working out in the weight room, I don't want you on my team.
What do you think? What kind of pressure or what kind of situation? Because I got to bring the stars back out now. You got a 5-star quarterback, right? The bells and whistles. Connor Wegman under center next Thursday. What are your expectations for him taking over this program?
Look, it always and ultimately comes down to performance, and I can't think of another position in sports where for you to do your job, everyone else has to do their job first, right? And so many times the quarterbacks get too much credit and too much blame. If the line doesn't block, the quarterback looks bad. If the back goes the wrong way, the quarterback looks bad. If the receivers run the wrong route, the quarterback. If the coach calls the wrong play, if we're not in the right situation, not in the right personnel. So there's a lot to manage at quarterback. But the thing that seems to be most unspoken is he a leader? Is he a leader of men? Will they play for him? And so that remains. I watched him at A&M. I liked him. I really liked him. But now you've got to come to get a new group of guys to rally around you, and then they've got to play. And so it's hard to say how will he do. He will do as well as the team does.
I didn't. It's unfair for me to say, he was in a dysfunctional situation at A&M, but he had a bunch of different coordinators, right? Play callers. He dealt with a lot of injuries. As the guy who is the focal point, you mentioned all the pressures that come with being the quarterback. Where do you think his headspace is entering this season? Or where should it be for him to have success?
When I went to the NFL, I think I was 6 years and 6 different coordinators, and that's hard. It is hard to go from system to system. There's a difference between knowing what to do and playing. Playing knowing what to do is so ingrained in you that you could jump out of bed at 3 a.m. and run the play. My 2 boys, Luke and James, they're high school coaches, and they're putting in our offense we ran in college, and Luke ran it. He's my oldest. He ran it in junior college, and so they said, hey, Dad, go down there and run the offensive line, and man, I could jump out of bed at 3 a.m. I guarantee you, Jason Phillips and Manny Hazard and Chuck Witherspoon and Mike Geisler and all those guys we had, it was so ingrained in us. I promise you. If I said, black 66 even, boy, they could run it, and that's what you don't get when you go from program to program. So he's learning new nomenclature, new system, new people, new culture, playing with different people. If he has success, that's wonderful. But all of this takes time. Anything that's worth building takes some time, and it's not going to be built overnight. So stay the course. Look, they're going to play the Thursday. It's the first game. A lot of new faces. I was telling my sons this last week. It's never as good as you think. You go out there, and if they win 60-0, I promise you, when they watch the film the next day, it's not going to be as good as they thought. And if it's a close game and they barely win, or they heaven forbid get beat, it's not going to be as bad. It's one guy doing the wrong thing here and one guy doing the wrong thing there, and so he's got his work cut out for him. But I like his ability and what he's capable of doing. But now he's got to put it into practice.
Well, one follow-up on that question, and then I'll ask you one more, and I'll let you get on with your day. I love the point you made about a familiarity with a quarterback in an offense. Like, Baron Morton, I think, is in his 4th year at Texas Tech. I think, Josh Hoover obviously coming back to TCU. How advantageous is that for Sawyer Robertson at Baylor? Is that for these quarterbacks, as opposed to, I was talking before you came online here, Jackson Arnold is kind of like in a quarterback battle at Auburn, right? Caden Salter, they're not quite sure if he's going to start. Like, the transfer guys are not just parachuted right in because of what you're talking about.
Exactly right. And let's go back to, 10,000 years ago in my day, right? Joe Montana, from the first day he walked into the league until the last day he left the league, played in the same system and had great success. Steve Young was at Tampa Bay. He goes to the 49ers, gets into the system, and has success. So is it the system or the player? Well, it's the system that gives the player an opportunity to succeed. Marino, same system through his whole career, till the end when Jimmy Johnson came in. All of a sudden, the greatest passer in the history of the game now is throwing for 90 yards a game. What happened? Well, the system changed, right? The one that was just kind of an outlier during my day was Warren Moon. Warren Moon could go from system to system, and it just didn't matter, and I don't know how you do that. For me, some of us, it doesn't matter the system. You can go out and you can just play and not think. Others, we've got to know the system so we can implement it. And so, some guys will come in and have success, and you could probably stick them in anything, throw them out there in the street, and they're going to have great success. Other guys are more system guys. I don't think that you take a Tom Brady and switch systems and overnight have success. But you let him learn the system, and you better look out, because he's going to put you in situations to have success. So, there's a lot of ways to skin the cat, but so we'll see. Time will tell about some of these things.
That is a great intel from former big time, real successful quarterback. Last question for you: what do you want your legacy to be? On football, on life, 100 years from now, or 50 years from now, like, what do you want people to say about David Klingler?
Well, so I'm pastoring, I teach seminary, where, one of the things that I think that we all need to realize, this is going to sound so obvious, but I've observed that the death rate is 1 per person, right? we're all heading towards the grave. And I've never seen yet anyone laying on their deathbed saying, boy, I just wish I would have made a little more money. Or I wish I was a little more famous, right? So ask yourself, if you had a week to live, well, how would you spend that time? What's important to you? And then reorient your life to those things, and bring your daily schedule in line with what's really important and what really matters. And so I hope they say, oh, that was a man of character, uncompromising character, right? Bullheaded. One of my old professors, I'd ask him, I say, Doc, you seem to be dogmatic on that issue. He says, no, I'm bulldogmatic on that issue. And I love that, right? The truth is the truth, right is right, wrong is wrong. Honor, character, integrity, and it's non-negotiable. It is absolutely non-negotiable. And I saw that in Jack Pardee. It was poured into me. I got to see it in real life, and I hope that others see it in me. And then it encourages them to say, wait a second, if he can be like that, because that's what it did. That's what Jack Pardee and men like that in my life, it's what it's done for me. If they can be men of integrity, why can't I be a man of integrity and a man of character?
David Klingler, man, just as cool in person as it was to watch you when I was a kid. Thank you very much for the time. Will you be at the game on Thursday, or will you be in Dallas at home?
I will be traveling, but I'll be watching.
All right, let's go. Thank you so much for the time. David Klingler. Wow, that was a thrill for me, and it was also super insightful. I love the quarterback stuff, man. Those guys are so smart. That's why I was relegated to the defensive line. But yeah, that is a great window into, because it's funny. I came on here this morning talking about quarterback duels, and here I am talking about how these transfers are not getting the nod in camp. These high-profile transfers are not getting the nod in camp to be the starter. And, you know, I talked to David Klingler, who's forgotten more than I'll ever know about football, certainly playing quarterback, and he's talking about how important it is to play in the same system. So school for thought or food for thought for me covering the game, and honestly for fans. Have a little bit of grace, but if you're a Baylor fan, Sawyer's got to deliver. All right, the Pete Sousa Show. We'll come back with one last segment. We're presented by Slovacek's. Football's almost here, baby. Week 0.
For 75 years, Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. No gimmicks, just durable, well-designed bottles built to last. Join us on our mission to amplify life, not complicate it. Because at Nalgene, what goes into our bottles matters as much as the adventures they fuel. Explore more at nalgene.com. That's NALGENE.com. Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Since 2003, we've been connecting buyers and sellers, providing access to sold-out events at prices lower than most secondary market options. Whether it's sports, theater, or concerts, our massive nationwide network ensures you get the tickets you want, guaranteed. For the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. That's TICKETLIQUIDATOR.com. Ticket Liquidator.
I'm Hunter, the founder of Hello Cake, and today we're digging into ED meds. The #1 thing we hear is that guys are sick of waiting for ED meds to kick in. Traditional ED meds take about an hour to kick in as they have to go through your digestive system, where Hello Cake's ED medication dissolves under your tongue and works in about 15 minutes. That's about 3 times faster than traditional ED medication. Curious about ED meds? Go to hellocake.com.
InMotion is more than just a name. It's a legacy of innovation. From supplying electric vehicle parts like motors and inverters since the 1960s to creating cutting-edge electric scooters, hoverboards, and unicycles, InMotion is shaping the future of mobility. Whether you're looking for industrial power solutions or accessible personal transport, InMotion has you covered. Explore our products and experience the future of movement. Visit store.inmotionworld.com today.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files, remove malware and viruses, and protect your device. It also optimizes your Mac's hard disk, fixes disk permission issues, and cleans memory, all to boost your Mac's performance to the max. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
Finding a sleep sack that my baby likes has been a struggle.
The sleep sack from Joy is a major upgrade.
It's all natural eucalyptus, which is breathable and hypoallergenic, which is really great for your baby's sensitive skin.
And it's made with Climatech, which regulates your baby's temperature.
You can also get Joy's crib sheets, which are made of the same super soft material.
Joy gave my baby comfort
and gave me peace of mind.
At Mapiful, we believe in celebrating your journey, past, present, and future. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence, elevate creativity, and honor what matters most. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mapiful.com and start celebrating your story today.
Maud Lily is your go-to for stylish and affordable fashion that fits your life. Whether you're looking for the perfect swimsuit for a beach day, a chic dress for a night out, or cozy tops for everyday wear, Maud Lily has it all. Their extensive collection of swimwear, including bikinis, tankinis, and one-pieces, always keeps you on trend, while their dresses and tops come in flattering styles for every occasion. Visit maudlily.com today.
Is the Pete Sousa Show here on a Thursday. I think there's some NFL football preseason tonight, the Giants and the Patriots. I'll probably be keeping an eye on that. Scotty, what's going on in your world? I see you're actually ready to say something. Everything good?
I've been ready to say something this whole show, Pete, but I'm
What'd you think about David Klingler?
Good guy.
Old school.
I bet he doesn't know I did seminary once in my life, so
there you go.
I respect it and appreciate
well,
that.
I had to dip into that because I knew he would
It's important.
leave me with something that I would be able to. It was selfish on my
There you
part,
go.
but I knew he
There
would
you
help
go.
me out. All right, I'm going to talk about Brett Favre now and Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Unless you have anything else.
No, I mean, I'm busy. We launched the Matt Mosley show.
The Matt
this week.
Mosley show was launched. You are very busy, and then you got the Green and Gold show.
Green and Gold Game Day launches next
Friday. Yeah. Are you completely off sales now? Unless, okay, that's good.
Sort of. I'm wrapping up some things.
Okay.
But moving in that direction.
All right.
Yeah.
That's great.
It is great.
Yeah.
Need everybody to tune into our show so I can keep my job.
And tune into this show. Make sure you tune into the Green and Gold show. You can watch.
Oh,
We're back? Okay.
There we go.
All right. So Scotty was just saying before somebody tripped over the cord up here.
I think there was some interference from the powers.
So this is good to talk about. So there is a specific Green and Gold channel.
Yes. So I want everyone watching on Twitter.
Okay.
Go to YouTube. Look up Green and Gold Game Day.
Yeah.
The dopest logo you've ever seen in your life.
Very cool.
In the
Very
profile picture. The header says Lynch, Mosley, Swingler.
No way.
Oh, yeah. You want to go subscribe to Green and Gold Game Day. You can watch the show intro
I'm
there
looking at it right now.
It is lit. Maybe we should show it tomorrow. Maybe.
Yeah, totally.
I'm going to show the show intro tomorrow. I don't have it queued up right now. 3-hour pregame show before Baylor Auburn. Shahan Jayaraja will be with us.
All right. Oh,
Pete
really?
Sousa.
Shahan's going to be on?
He will be on. Pete Sousa will be with us. Daryl Dapprich from Locked On Auburn will be with us. I am efforting an NFL quarterback to be with us. I am efforting a legendary All Big 12 Baylor linebacker to be with us. It's going to be a fantastic time. And if you're in Waco, you come to the Camp Fimfo tailgate.
Yeah.
First big tailgate across MLK at Brazos Parking. Southern Roots is going to be there serving beer. And Matt Mosley, Faith Lynch, and Scotty Swingler are going to be there talking football for 3 hours. You just got to come hang out. Just come hang out. It's going to be great.
It's going to be super festive too.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
Yeah.
It's going to be super festive.
Yeah.
Do we know what the weather's going to be like?
Oh, Blake Blackmar's going to be cooking barbecue. Failed to mention that. You want
got,
some of that.
You got beers and barbecue.
Beers and barbecue.
Why don't you be, let's be, Southern Roots isn't just giving away booze, right? Are they?
I don't remember the agreement they have with Fimfo.
Wow.
I don't want to call out that it's free, but
no, let's not say that, especially
but that's
with
the
Baylor.
best, by the way, if that's the best brewery in Waco. They'll have at least 3 or 4 different beer. I mean, it's going to be
They're a big
fantastic.
deal. You brokered that deal?
I was involved. I did not broker that deal. That would be unfair.
Okay.
I was around.
All right, good job.
Listen, in Hubbard, Texas,
this is Joe Don. His
beer and barbecue are 2 of the 3 food groups.
Hey, Joe Don, what really? Because I do want to talk about before we go off the air the similarities between Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. What do you think about that?
Well, Aaron Rodgers ain't Brett Favre. I tell you, Brett's a good Southern boy. Aaron's from California. I usually don't trust those California boys, but I tell you, I like what he said about the vaccines. He's a patriot for that.
What did you say
opposing the tyrannical government.
Well, what about Brett Favre? I mean, I think he stole some money from.
Well, I don't appreciate dudes who steal money from children. That's just not very cordial. But these are just accusations. He sued Pat McAfee for saying that because it's just alleged.
Do you know where that
you
is?
have to say alleged.
Do you have any idea where that is in court right now?
Well, I don't really trust the court system after they've been blocking some executive orders lately. But
all right, get out of here. That's Joe Don.
Joe Don, everybody.
Will he be on Green and Gold?
No, Joe Don will not be making an appearance on Green and Gold Game.
Maybe like week 10 if stuff gets ugly. By the way, last thing about the Green and Gold show, which is really cool and also ambitious as hell, road games as well. So get ready. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, I was just thinking about this, and I wanted to talk about it. I'm starting to get I believe Aaron Rodgers could have a huge year this year. I do, because I think the pairing with Mike Tomlin is great, and there's two reasons. Mike Tomlin always exceeds expectations. Aaron Rodgers, if you look at what Brett Favre did, right? Crappy year with the Jets, all the way to the NFC Championship. Really should have won that game against the Saints. Almost did, right? And so Aaron Rodgers, I wouldn't be shocked if he kind of found himself in a similar situation. Maybe not quite. I don't think he has the gunslinging ability he used to have and like Favre had in that last year. But the positive of that is Aaron Rodgers takes care of the football. And I think that demeanor and mindset with Mike Tomlin's I believe there could be some big things coming this year for Aaron Rodgers. Thoughts? I can tell you're jonesing to say something.
I think we need to make another bet.
Why? What do you think?
I think Aaron Rodgers is cooked.
Really?
I actually did a rant when you weren't here. You were on vacation. This was like maybe 2 months ago. I did a rant about how I didn't understand how the Pittsburgh Steelers could pass on Shadur
We both
Sanders.
Talked about this. Yeah.
Could pass on Shadur Sanders for off the field, blah, blah, blah. But then take the most dramatic, obnoxious off the field persona currently in the NFL. It doesn't make sense to me.
He's not.
Yes, he is. The best part of your take is Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
You just don't bet against Mike Tomlin.
Yes, you don't.
But is Aaron Rodgers going to elevate that roster beyond maybe a first-round playoff berth? I don't think so. Who else is on that team besides him and TJ Watt?
Yeah, I was about to say TJ Watt.
I mean, DK Metcalf is very not the kind of receiver Aaron's had success with. Doesn't mean he can't.
Yeah.
It's just it's not the route running, possession, sharp, that's not who DK Metcalf has been. They still don't have their running back issue solved. Freiermuth's good, but I just don't know. I don't know if that's a great roster. And I don't think he's that good. Father Time comes for us all, Pete.
It does. I know
what Tom Brady did.
Yeah.
We're watching what's happening with Matt Stafford. We watched Peyton Manning, even though he won a Super Bowl that final year, physically just drop off a cliff. Aaron Rodgers, we were still just 2 years off of a torn hammy.
All right, so here's the over-under, 8.5.
Wins?
Yeah. That's a tough one, dude.
It is. I need to look at the schedule.
Okay.
I'm gonna dream about this.
All right.
I don't think he's a difference maker for them. I think they're looking for a quarterback immediately again next year.
By the way, I know Corey hasn't been watching lately. Has he said anything to you about making the show longer?
No.
He hasn't said anything to me in a while. We're gonna have to at some point because of you. Because we love you.
We're out of time, folks.
We are done with time. So we'll have to think on that. Tomorrow we're going to have Steve Walsh, NFL quarterback, former Miami Hurricane. I want to talk about Notre Dame and Miami. That's going to be a season opening game for both of those teams. Catholics versus convicts is what I was raised on. Whether you like it or not, that was the old saying. I'm not saying that's what they are now, but that was the old saying. And I heard an amazing interview. It was the Pardon My Take guys. They had Ed Ogeron on. And Ed Ogeron, clearly he likes Mario Cristobal, but he was like, dude, I'm telling you, there is talent on that side of the ball. By the way, Ogeron was talking about the staff with Jimmy Johnson. It was Ogeron, Dave Wanstead, Norv Turner. This is at Miami. Butch Davis. It was an amazing group of coaches. So I love all that stuff. We can talk to Steve Walsh a little bit about that. And of course, we'll be talking Big 12. One last plug for me. Inside the 12 airs tonight. In your local Big 12 affiliate markets. You won't have to look hard to find it. Also, it'll be on True TV, 5:30 p.m. Central. And I'll tell you, like, Taylor McHarg is the guy who does it with me. And there is like last year, it was a good show, right? But it was not as good as it is this year. Like, Taylor takes it to a whole nother level. Him and his success as a quarterback, nobody's won more football games in the history of Rice. And we really get into like the nuts and bolts of like quarterback talk. And he loves your boy Sawyer. He says NFL guys are saying that he's the most impressive. Sawyer Robertson is. All right. That's anything else?
10 wins.
10 wins for who?
Baylor.
Okay.
We're
Yeah.
coming.
We'll see if they can pull it off. In the
We're
meantime,
coming.
we will see you tomorrow. Thank you, Savachiks.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
We are Rogue Media Sports.